I want to say something about writing this. You know, David Chase was the main composer of this, but I was involved in every word, every note, edited, rewrote things, and really was super involved, composed a little. And I love David's description that each movement, I say, each movement's like a musical puzzle because of the text. Some of the texts lent themselves more to music, a musical setting than others. But he said the issue was we had to musicalize all these texts. The musical styles in each movement are very varied. Now, remember, I was a singer, I conduct choruses. I don't want anybody bored with this. And every woman was a different personality. So every piece had to be a different personality. And we hope that each movement represents the meaning of the words. The tempi changes throughout the 12 movements. Slow works, fast works, some homophonic, some imitative passages, a lot of counterpoint, and slow and fast musical declamations of words. And the most important thing is that each movement tells a story. Each one of these women, whether they were saying 5 words or 5 sentences, were telling a story and something important when they were speaking or being interviewed. I would suggest anybody doing this study the text first, and the entire libretto is printed in the score. The music, each each movement but one uses cello and piano, and one movement just uses the cello. Now, I'd like to go over a few movements, and I had a feeling Scott would ask me this question, and I went, oh my God, when I started thinking about one movement, I went, oh, I love that movement. Oh, I love another movement. And I love movements for different reasons. But if you listen to the entire work, which takes about 30, 31 minutes, you'll see that the outer movements are really about the American vision. The first movement is a setting of words of Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice from a president, spoken at a presidential convention. And the final movement, I Want a President, is a setting of words by First Lady Michelle Obama, spoken at another presidential convention, and her words are sprinkled with those of Justice Ginsburg. Those are words of hope. These words are homophonic, they need a big chorus, they're forthright, straightforward, and need a big Americana sound. First Lady Barbara Bush's words need a big chorus as well. This movement is not difficult, my dear directors, but this offers a specific challenge. The work Believe has Believe in the music many, many times. And the chorus and the director needs to think about the treatment of how you'll sing Believe, although it's written out there, down there. But every time they sing it, they have to believe something else about the words. Because she's saying believe in something larger than yourself, get involved in some of the big ideas of our time. They were words spoken by Mrs. Bush at a commencement speech at Wellesley College. And I think that's kind of cool. And I had to spend a lot of time with the chorus with that. One of the things I am really firm about in this entire cycle is you won't see hundreds of dynamics. The words in the music tell you what the dynamics are. And every director could do different things with this text. I did not want to mega manage people. I think that's not a good idea. Anyway, Margaret Chase Smith was both a senator and congresswoman, and I love these words. Her Declaration of Conscience from 1950 tells us that we could hold unpopular beliefs, we could criticize, we could protest. So our music protests, it criticizes, it's right in your face. You need a full chorus. Very different than Justice Kagan's words about religious freedom. It's poignant, it's flowing, and it's sort of a musical recitation, which 4 people could sing, or maybe up to like 100 people could sing, but more on who should be singing what later. Movement 3, I have to say it's one of my favorites, but I'll say another movement's favorite in a minute. But it's a trio of words of 3 rock stars: Eleanor Roosevelt, Hillary Rodham Clinton, and Betty Ford. You could perform this with 8 or 250 people. I really admire the work of these 3 women, and the movement does sound like it's rock stars. Why? They're having a conversation with one another in the movement, but their ideas are sung, and they're describing freedom, freedom for women, freedom for all human beings. And I'll say, when I was at NPR, which is a government building, and I was conducting my prose singing, and they sang that word, freedom for women, I started crying. It was so meaningful for me at that moment. Um, there are complete opposites musically in Shirley Chisholm's work, her rights for women's speech. Um, it's it's really about um, human rights again, and it's very poignant. It's the complete opposite of freedom, and it sways, and it's the music's very, very transparent. And Laura Bush's words, "We pride ourselves," is her homage to Dr. Martin Luther King, and this is a hymn setting. And one of the most fun pieces, which I think the young and old will really enjoy, are the words of Abigail Adams set to a gavotte, which was a musical setting from the 18th century. And these are words she said in 1776, and I'll read them. She sent them to her husband, John Adams, while he was a member of the Continental Congress, and they were busy writing the Declaration of Independence. And she says to him, "Remember the ladies," and perhaps she was our first leader in women's rights.